welcome to our MPOWER Financing webinar. Today, we're doing an introduction to MPOWER, and I have two very wonderful panelists here with me today. But I'm Claire Almand. I've been at MPOWER a little over 7 years. I'm an Associate Director of Marketing. And one of my favorite things about MPOWER in this company is how many of us are former international students on a mission to make the international journey for future international students much better than what we experienced. And so here with me today, I have Yudi and Sai, who also have much to say about this international student adventure and study abroad. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch a poll so we can learn a little bit more about you while they, and you could answer it while they introduce themselves. So give me a second to launch this. Boom. Great. And then Yudi, I'm going to start with you. Do you mind introducing yourself for everyone?
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I came to United States in 2014, so almost 10 years, to do my master's in computer science, and realized that that's not what I want to do. So I switched from computer science to product management, project management, and then now I'm currently a senior product manager for a fintech startup. And then on the side, I create content for international students just like you, about like how to come to United States and how to succeed as a international student in United States. And yeah, so that's me.
Thank you, Yudi. And Sai, same question. Just introduce yourself.
Yeah. So, hello everyone. Myself, Prudvi. I'm a full-time master's student pursuing my master's in data analytics at Clark University, and this is my second semester. And I completed my bachelor's in computer science from Osmania University in India in 2019. And after completing my bachelor's, I just came to US to pursue my master's. Yeah.
Great, thank you so much. So if you have not answered the poll, and I can see there are some of you that haven't answered the poll, you have until I finish my sentence to answer, to tell us more about you. It is climbing, and I think that's all I have. All right, ending the poll. Great, so I'm going to share the results as well. And today we have about 37% from Africa. Actually, Nigeria and Ghana are some of our top countries of people we serve, so great to see that strong representation. East Asia as well. Typically, we do a lot of business with China, among some other countries. And then last, I see South and Southeast Asia are our winner today, which is great since we have some people here in the live session from India. Fun fact, I am actually physically in India right now. Are you guys in the US?
I am in the US, yeah. Yeah.
Great. So career field.
You should,
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, where you should share where in India.
Oh yeah, so I'm in Bengaluru. This is where MPOWER has an office. I manage a team here. Actually, I've been in India about 6 months this year. I'm loving it so far.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's great.
Great. So, all right, career field. What we'll have to rewrite this question. I see no one is in human services. We have 23% in communication information systems, IT or computers. Agriculture gets nothing. Health science gets 10% and 67% other. All right, that's how I think we need to rate the question. So if you were someone today that wrote an other, can you write in the Q&A what you're actually studying, and we will refine this question for future webinars to learn more about you. Would love to learn more about what you're actually studying. And then last, have you referred a friend to MPOWER? Yes, 37%. I will do it soon. 33%. We believe in you, and then would like to know more about it. We will definitely cover more during this session. So I will stop sharing. And for anyone that just joined, I see there is a little bit of a bump. Ask us questions in the QA field at any time, and we'll get back to you very soon during this session. But back to you guys. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about the pre-financing journey and what you experienced, as well as the financing journey. And then in the last portion, we'll answer all our lovely audience questions. So just starting sort of back at the beginning, I'd love to know from each of you, why did you decide to study abroad, or what led you to study abroad? And Yudi, I'm going to start with you, and then I'll move to Sai.
Yeah. This is a funny story. I tell this every time. My best friend was he decided to study abroad, so I had no plans, as zero plans. But one day he just showed up at my apartment and he's like, "I'm going. You need to go." And I was like, "There's no way." But then he convinced me. So he was a seed in my like mind, and then I started researching more. I think majority of my convincing was. One, like to make more money, and the career opportunities. Like I think America is known for valuing the skills you have and the opportunities you have over here. So those were the two main reasons. And like the pivoting career is much easier, I would say, in United States than compared to India. So I think those three reasons convinced me, like, all right, I think I should pursue this. So yeah, those were like some of my dream to be, and then obviously the American dream, which I feel like I'm living now. Yeah.
So, Sai, same question. What led you to study abroad? Um,
Surprisingly, I do have a friend. He
Right off
started,
the well.
yeah.
Yes.
So he said about his brother who is living here, and he also have a dream to study in US. So he started saying that we should study in US, and they have immense opportunities, and we have lots of research opportunities as well. So then I started searching for the universities in US and know about it, and then I just applied for the universities.
Wow, so it starts with a friend.
Yeah.
The big for the marketing team here at Empower. But so, Sai, tell me a little bit more about your journey. I think you're in school. So, what's then the experience been like?
So I should say so far it's studying the data analytics in USA has been a transformative journey, and like many of my courses have incorporated with real world projects, and so that I can apply my theoretical knowledge into the practical setting. And most of the professors here are very supportive, like they will solve my doubts and questions regarding the subjects then and there. And it's like overall fulfilling all my like academically and personally.
Well, that's fantastic. Yudi, can you say the same thing?
Yeah, pretty much same. And I would say like I was totally different person before coming to United States, and then after coming to United States, I grew a lot as a person. I know a lot of people focus on just the hard skills, but there's a lot of soft skills I learned personally, and like there was so many limiting beliefs I had, and there was like I couldn't do public speaking, but I was able to do public speaking. I was a shy kid. Now I'm more confident in speaking in front of people. And overall, just like I think there's an aspect of like you being independent. So obviously you will learn a lot of hard skills, and the education is going to teach you a lot of like hands-on skills. But I think what is studying abroad is going to also teach you is to how to live on your own, how to like grow. Like you're going to learn so many things about yourself, which is like the personal growth journey. That was like the best part about my entire experience, and like the people I met and the network I built.
So you both have just these great experiences. Clearly, you know really valuable studying abroad. So what would you guide our audience today, who are you in your younger shoes, who are thinking about studying abroad? What should they be considering? And Yudi, I'll start with you.
Yeah. So first, I think one of the mistakes I made was not doing some form of introspection. Like, what is it that you want to like? What's your end goal? Like, if you want to really become a product manager or project manager, software engineer, I saw some people business, whatever that role is, figure out what that is. Look at some of the job description and see what skills you need to get to that role, and then like track it back to like the major you want to choose and then the university you want to choose. I think a lot of people focus, like, do it in reverse order. They choose the university, then they see the major, and then eventually hope that they will get that role. So I would like, that's my biggest piece of advice I would say, is like, figure out what you really want to do, and then plan it out well. I think you're investing a lot of money, so like, I think, yeah. So that's the big advice I would give.
Nice. So, Sai, what type of advice do you have for everyone? Similar, different?
Yeah, it is somewhat different, I think. So if you want to pursue your master's in US, so start the procedure before 6 months. Like
Mm.
I started writing my IELTS examinations with my final year exams, and that was a bit rush. So everything was a bit rush. And students must write their English proficiency test, GRE, SOP resume, and then apply for the universities and getting admits, I-20s. It takes a lot of time. So start the procedure before 6 months, and that's my piece of advice.
I think your advice goes together. I hear start early and plan.
Yeah, yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah.
so I think that's hopefully a big takeaway for everyone. Actually, it's something here at Empower we hear a lot, is that people underestimate how much stress is involved if you don't plan well, just because you're
Mm.
running against some deadlines that are outside your control, visas and so on. So keep your stress low, plan, and give yourself some time for sure. But one final question on the pre-financing journey, and then we'll sort of jump into the dirty details. And so, what did you love most, Sai, or what have you loved the most so far? And what is one thing you do differently?
Um, like there is nothing different, but I love like coming to US. It's a big dream for me. As I said, like my friend helped me to come to US, and then I just saw Empower. It's like it, we don't need any co-signer or applicant. It's simple and smooth. So that's what I would like to say.
Empower appreciates you.
Yeah.
Yudi, what about you? What do you love, and what would you do differently?
Yeah, I mean, I love pretty much everything about. I mean, there are a few things I don't, but I think the people is the best part about this whole journey. Like, I met so many people from all over the world, and like, yeah, like a lot of my mentors are still from my university. My professors are still in touch. Like, in fact, one of my professors just emailed me to do a guest lecture for him. So that building that relationship is so valuable, because it's like you build it for lifetime. So yeah, it's I think the people was like, building relationship and people is knowing and learning about them, and having them in your corner was like really good, and I loved it. What I would do differently is I would ask, I would get out of my comfort zone way sooner than I did. It took me like about 6 months or so to like getting out of my comfort zone. And luckily, my mentors at that time on my on-campus job pushed me to do things which I wouldn't have. So like, I would recommend that you're, again, like, investing so much money. And so like, try to get out of your comfort zone and don't stay in your community, or just don't like, this is your chance to explore the new country and culture and meet new people. So don't be shy. I think people are friendly over here, so you want to explore and ask more questions.
Awesome. So thank you both so much for sharing sort of how you got abroad. And so once you kind of figure out your plan, what are you studying? What are you doing? I think the next step is, oh dear, how do I pay for it? Can I afford this journey abroad? Is it a good choice? And so I think we'll start with sort of, what did you guys experience when you thought about, how am I going to pay for this? What were your thoughts? What did you do? And Yudi, I'm gonna start with you.
Yeah, and so back to my story, like when my friend said, like I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to do it because I come from lower middle class family, and there's no way, like we didn't have that much money. So one, I knew I couldn't afford it, and two, we also didn't have like collateral, cosigner, or like all those things which typical bank requires. So I was like also not sure how that is gonna work out. So very stressful situation, like yeah, I want to do it, but like I'm not sure how is this even possible. Plus all the university cost you like $40,000 to $50,000 or so, including a lot of cost. Again, just rough numbers here. But yeah, so those were like my initial feeling. Luckily, I don't think Empower existed at that time when I was pursuing my master's. But luckily my family members and friends helped me. Like I did some personal loan with them, so that's how I was able to. But yeah, like I'm grateful that Empower now is existing, and people can use it without worrying about collateral and cosigner, which is like the best part about this.
So Yudi, I actually have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Someone's planning a budget. What do they need to consider, or what did you consider?
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I would also add to this. So, a lot of time when I was considering my budget, I was like considering all right, tuition fees and then like travel, visa, and all of that cost. But a lot of time people have this assumption that they're going to get an on-campus job, which they're going to make like $600 to $1,000 or so. And that is going to cover their cost of living, which I also assumed it. But for the first 6 months, I didn't get on-campus job, and like I had to struggle and get the money from my parents and my family members. So that would be a big advice I would give is consider everything in your budget, not just your tuition fees and the cost to get there, because there will be situation where you might get sick, like health insurance might cost you, like there's so many other elements. So add like buffer to it, and don't assume that you are going to get like an on-campus job. If you get it, that's great, like that's a brownie point. But if you don't, you at least have planned already.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Sai, does that match your experience, or did you have a different experience?
Yeah, so my father is ready to pay the tuition fees for my university, but I just don't want to make burden for him. And I just thought that if any bank or someone would give the loan without co-applicant or co-signer, then after doing some research in online, I just came to know Empower Finance. And then I just applied for Empower Finance, and I just got my sanction letter I mean, the offer letter within 1 day. So that's really great.
Simple, and I think, what did you say? Simple and you said,
Fast.
yeah, you said something earlier. I'm like, oh, marketing. But yeah, simple and smooth. I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Sai, you're also one of our ambassadors, actually.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about what you advise people when you refer them to Empower, or anything you share with them as they're planning?
So there is one more lender other than Empower, like Prodigy. But why I considered Empower is because of the fixed interest rate. So if we need to choose fixed interest rate than floating interest rate, because if we choose floating interest rate, then the interest rate may change at any point of time, and that may us feel burdened. The procedure is very simple. We don't need to go to any bank and uh, do the stuff like all the paperwork and everything. It's everything online, and it's very simple. Like we don't need any experience to fill the application. It's very simple. So I think we need to consider about the interest rates and the procedure. If it's fast and smooth, then we need to go for it.
So you said a lot of things that we hear a lot from our customers, and one is that you don't want to burden your parents. The stress of having your parents' house or livelihoods aligned to your studies is really stressful. So we hear that a lot. And the other thing I love that you brought up is the fixed interest rate. Now that we're in a global or an environment where the interest rates are rising around the world, that means the cost of money is getting more expensive, basically. So any lender that has a variable rate is putting the cost of their capital on you because the rate is increasing. MPOWER believes in our students and also knows you can't plan if it's not fixed. So we promise you the same monthly payment, the same rate through the duration of your loan. So you're not the victim of the market. So I wanted to share a little bit more about that for any of our attendees that may not be familiar with fixed or variable rates. So thanks so much for bringing that up, Sai. Yudi, I feel like you also have mentioned that this is something you hear a lot from people that follow your content. Is that right?
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. Yeah, like fixed rate versus interest. I mean, I have heard stories where people actually started with 8% or so, and now they are like paying 13, 14%, which is a lot. Like they didn't plan like I think when they were planning their financials, they probably had in mind that, okay, this is when I'm going to be able to pay off and all of that. Now 13% increases that monthly payment and obviously the overall amount which you're going to be paying. So 100% like fixed interest is a way, like I would highly recommend a way to go. And there's like other things which Empower also helps, which I know Sai didn't touch on it, but like careers and visa help and all of that. So that is also something I've heard from my audience why they preferred Empower as well.
Nice. So we jumped a little bit ahead to like MPOWER benefits, which is great. I can talk about MPOWER benefits all
Can I
day.
add one point?
Oh yeah, go please.
Yeah. So most of the banks in India give you offer letter or the sanction letter after getting the admit. But
Mm.
Empower gives you the support letter before, I mean, getting the I-20.
It's true.
Yeah.
So Sai, for anyone not familiar with the visa process, can you talk just a little bit more about how I-20s fit in to the study abroad journey?
I didn't get you.
Yeah, so you mentioned I-20s and
Yeah.
support letters. Do you mind talking just a little bit more about what that looks like in the student journey, or why does a support letter matter to getting a visa?
Yeah. So I mean, in order to get the I-20, we need to show the finances, and for that finances, we need to have at least personal savings or the loan sanction letter. So it is very important to get an I-20, and so that we can proceed further for the visa interview. So for that, Empower gives you support letter before getting your I-20, and most of the banks doesn't do it. If you want to get your I-20, I mean, if you want to get your sanction letter, you need to provide your I-20 first. And that's what I've faced with most of the Indian banks. And Empower is something different.
I've actually heard that some banks are now charging people for that support letter as well. So free at Empower, we give it to everyone. But
Yeah.
so Sai, you kind of brought up sort of the process of getting a loan and studying abroad. It's long. Yudi, can you share a bit about how does financing fit in when you guide people? When do you study, or when do you figure out what you're going to study? When do you do financing? How does that all look like timeline?
Yeah, what I've seen is two versions. One is people first figure out their colleges and then, all right, okay, this is how much it's going to cost, and then they figure out their finances. I would do opposite. I would like, while they are choosing and filtering their university, shortlisting it, I would also start the process of like the cost and budgeting at the same time versus later on in the process. And like once, like I mentioned, like Empower doesn't require you I mean, Empower gives you the support letter. So that was one of the questions that I recently was asked, like, hey, I don't have money to show to get an I-20. How do I get I-20? And it's like, it's a chicken and egg solution. So I think doing it while you are starting to apply, it makes more sense because now you are more confident and more at peace that, okay, my finances are not going to be like I worked all this hard thing and now I don't have finances in place, but you also have that in place. Plus you have university admits in place, which is going to make your journey a little bit more smoother, not a little bit more smoother than, than like bumpy road.
So jumping on that, MPOWER actually recently developed a pre-qualification tool for anyone that's trying to figure out, man, like, is MPOWER able to help me? How can I afford this? So I think some of our chat moderators will drop our pre-qualification tool for anyone that's still in the super planning stage. You can figure out if MPOWER may be an option for you and in the programs you're studying. So we'll drop that in a second. So in terms of trusting your lender, I think lenders often get a bad rep in the greater industry, along with finance. But Yudi, you mentioned how do you figure out if you can trust your lender? You said you had a personal loan. How would you figure that out if it's a trustworthy business to work with?
Yeah, one, I think how often, I think one, the communication and the transparency you have with your lender is, I think, important to help you figure out, can you trust it or not? To like how much support are you going to get from them? And then I also like the fixed rate versus variable rate. Plus, I think having a trusted lender is so viable and important at this point of time, because you need your visa and all of that depends on your, like, a lot of time visa officers will ask you, how are you going to fund your education, and like having someone who's trusted lender is important. Plus, once you come here, the whole move dispersing your loan amount to your university account or to your account, I've heard nightmare stories where people have struggled to get that, so they have to figure out another way of solution to get the money while the loan is getting processed. So having a trusted lender is that is like super important, and I think way to have some form of transparency and communication, constant communication, is really vital.
Yeah, so one, I just realized there's probably one benefit we haven't yet touched on today that MPOWER offers. And so Sai, I'm hoping you can help me with this one. But so MPOWER is a US based lender, and that means we lend in dollars, and there are some advantages to that versus an Indian lender. Can you share more about what the advantages are of going with a US lender?
Yeah, like the funds are directly dispersed to the university, and we don't need to involve in it. Like if we are going to take from any Indian lenders, then they will provide you some tools, and again, it's a tough process. It takes a lot of time, and going with an US lenders, like the procedure is simple. I don't need to involve in the disbursement process. Like Empower deals directly with the university, so the funds are directly dispersed to the university, and it's very simple and fast.
Yeah, and so one more thing is actually you don't have to worry about currency fluctuations in your home country. If you're making payments from your home country, you're the loan in dollars, you're paying in dollars, so you don't have to worry about that exchange changing on you while you're in your program, which is another plus one to a US based lender. There is one more benefit that I'm going to talk about for being a US based lender, and so Yudi, how important is having a credit history in the US? Did it surprise you at all?
No, I was gonna add that, but you already asked me that. So yeah, like I think everything US works on credit a lot more than debit. So yes, it is very important to have, because if you want to buy a MacBook or your iPhone, everything can be financed if you if you don't have the cash ready, and that all of that depends on your credit history. And the way you build credit history is to have some form of credit history. And for those of you who don't understand, credit history is just way to see for lenders who are giving you money, is this person going to give back the money, is this person trustworthy or not, whether can we give him or her money. And not only just that, like also for your apartments, like I think they look at your credit history. So it's also important when you move from your college town to your full-time job or internships, like they're going to ask you for credit history. So Credit history is required. Even, sorry, one more example is the cars. I think most people will end up buying a car and you won't have $50,000 with you. So maybe you will, I'm not sure, but most people won't have it. So you might have to finance it. And if you have a good credit score and a credit history, you will get a better rate of interest on your car loan and on your home loan and all of that. So building that credit history early on is very important. And that's where like I feel like Empower also gets this +1 more, is because it helps you build that very early on as soon as you land.
Absolutely. We start reporting your payments to the credit bureaus immediately. So you do start building on-time payments and that good credit history. And I've had my credit history checked for my job, all my apartments, all my credit cards, cars, anything that you do. There's a chance you get a credit history check. So really, really important for those moving. And so I think we're reaching the point where I might want to switch to audience questions. I see we have a bunch and it'd be good to engage, but just to summarize some of the stuff we spoke about today, I think in the intro, the key takeaways were: one, plan and give yourself enough time if you can, start early. In the middle section, I heard some great key benefits from MPOWER. We're a fixed rate product, not a variable, no cosigner, no collateral, don't burden your parents. And then, of course, they were a US-based lender. That means you get a credit history, a loan in dollars, and you don't have to worry about sending money to the school. We do that. Plus, we do help with you doing your next job after school. So we have a program called Path to Success, where if you're successful, we're successful. So we also love to help our people get jobs with resume review, interview training, networking, and so on, in addition to a few other benefits. But the last benefit I've saved for Sai. Sai, can you explain the referral program and how it works with everyone here today? If they want to refer their, or if you want to refer them.
Yeah. So when we refer our friends, like we can get a referral bonus or referral thing of $300, and also the procedure will be smooth. Like if you're referring, then your credibility might help him to get the loan as well. Like and we can make the procedure a little bit fast as well, and that's how the referral program works. Yeah.
One thing I'll add is that if Sai refers me and I get a loan, Sai gets $300, but I get $100. So you and your friend get money. It's double-sided. So everyone wins here at MPOWER.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at gonna switch to audience questions. That means if you have a question, you haven't asked it, you want us to talk about it, please send it to us. And so sometimes with these questions, I feel like I probably should be the one answering it if it's very technical. So the first question is, I'll be applying to U.S. universities, and the fees will be sent where? So luckily, Yudi, I think, or no, Sai, you just covered this. So Sai, what happens to the fees?
So the fees are directly dispersed to the university, and if we are going to disperse the living expenses as well, then the university directly disperses the living expenses. The extra amount will be there, right? So when we add the bank accounts in the university portal, then the funds for the living expenses are directly dispersed from the university itself. Most of the universities do.
Great. And so, Yudi, I have another question for you, and then I'll cover it if we need to. But if you have a cosigner, does it make sense to still get a loan without a cosigner?
You have a cosigner, does it make sense? Yeah, but like I mean, for me, it's like I would probably want to do it on my own versus like when you have a cosigner, you are putting that, in a way, you're saying that, hey, if I am not able to do it, then go to this person and get the money from this person. That adds a lot more pressure, and I would rather want to be like full 100% owner of this adventure I'm going on. So So yeah, I think it makes sense, but like I would rather, like, for me it comes down to my personal beliefs, and I would want to not have that and just do it all on my own and not burden my family members and have them stressed like, oh, my son has not gotten a job or an internship, and now like they are also stressed along with your stress. So yeah.
And so I think one more guidance or piece of guidance we'll have is that with MPOWER, you can actually, if you have someone that is helping you pay, you can still apply with a sponsor. They're not tied to your loan in any way, but it might help open up a greater loan amount for you altogether. So you're welcome to apply with support. They're just not on the hook the way a cosigner would be. If you have someone that's looking to help you pay for school, we certainly accept that for a stronger application. The next question, do either of you guys know this question, the answer to this one? Does MPOWER charge prepayment penalties?
No, I mean, I know the answer.
Easy one, we do not. If you want to pay off your loan immediately, we are not stopping you and there's no charge. So please feel free. So I have someone here that I think wants to start school in January, and that is around the corner. So guys, if you were advising someone that was going to school in January, any advice? I know you both mentioned you may have rushed a little bit, and I'll have some at the end too.
Yeah, I would say, like, because you now have like almost 2 months or maybe less than 2 months, November and I guess November, December, both. I would start figuring out, like, because I'm assuming your end goal is to get some form of a internship and job or something. So start building your profile and portfolio for the career you are trying to do, because once you come here you're going to be extremely busy. You're going to start adjusting to your culture, I mean to the culture, education. You have to do everything on your own, so you won't have as much time as you have right now. So use the time to spend time with your family and friends, but then also start strategizing, figuring out like, okay, I want to be product manager. This is 5 things I need to do. Maybe do some certification, take some online courses. This is like luxury. You have time, so do it right now. Have your resume ready, LinkedIn ready, all of those. A lot of time people come here and get those things ready. I would have all of it ready, so then you feel a lot more confident. Yeah.
Sai, anything you want to add?
No, pretty much same.
Great. So, for this person, it's not clear where you are in the journey. So, if you have yet to apply to school, I would say that more on your school, if meeting their deadlines. But let's pretend, or let's say that you've been accepted to school. As soon as you've been accepted to school, you can make it through the entire MPOWER process. So if you have that acceptance letter, you can apply for a loan, we can escalate your case, and we can work with you to make sure financing at least isn't a time barrier. Where you may run into a bit more trouble would be we need that admit from your school to process the entire application, make it to the end and disperse money. And the other item is making sure you can get a visa in time. So I think the financing at least is straightforward, but you would want to check your school deadlines and to make sure visas work out for whatever country you're currently in. So just more of a technical add-on. What else? What other questions do we have? So US versus Canada. Do you guys have perspective on that? US versus Canada? Yudi,
I mean, I can't speak much for Canada, but like I've heard the job market is much better in US compared to Canada. Plus, I didn't choose Canada because of the weather. Like, I don't want to be in the cold. So like for 8 months or so, or maybe 9, I don't know. Yeah, so like those were like the weather was definitely one of my reasons, and second was I know that US is still known for tech innovation, and like all the big companies just come from here versus Canada, and there's a lot more opportunities in United States versus Canada. So yeah, that's I'm probably biased to US, I guess.
Sai, I know you're biased towards the US, right?
So there is no other country in my mind while I'm coming to US. So I just thought US have there's a lot of opportunities. than Canada, I think. And all my points are already stolen.
I'll
There
start
are
with
no
you
good
next
points.
time. We'll start with you the next few. We can't have Yudi stealing all the good points. But I think this is also a personal decision to the person that asked about what you value. Yudi values weather. Like if that matters, Canada is cold. But
Yeah.
some might be going to tech and you want the salaries and job ops that are available in the US. Maybe immigration is easier for you in Canada. So I think at the end of the day, it also comes down to what you care about, making sure you're making the right choice for you. Yes. What other questions? If you guys see any good questions, you're like, yeah, I want to answer that. I'm not gonna stop you.
There's,
Oh, go ahead.
oh, yeah, I think you were reading the same question. How
How
long
long?
does it take?
Yeah. How long does it take to process the loan application? What main documents are required at the time of the app? I shouldn't have kept talking. I should have let you ask me. But anyway, so it depends on how prepared you are, honestly, on the loan application. I would say if you have yet to apply to school or in the process of applying to school, just save everything. We're going to ask for the same thing your school does. That'd be your resume, your test scores, whatever your school asks, we will ask. So just save everything in a file. That's the simplest. So that's school documents, things that are going into your application that way. There's also financial documents. So we want to do the right thing by people that come to us for loans. If you give us some information in your application with a certain career path, and we think based upon what you've put in the application, there's no way for you to pay off that amount of money in 10 years, we won't give you the full amount you're asking for. We'll reduce it to make sure it's based on the career you're looking for. The loan amount also makes sense. For anyone that doesn't know how much to request, rule of thumb is your first annual salary after school. Your loan shouldn't be more than that. You want your first annual salary after school to be about the same as your loan size, no more. So that should help you ballpark it a bit if you're researching salaries. But if you have, if your parent is helping you pay for school, if you have scholarships, you have other sources of funds, and you're using that to add to your loan application to show that you can fully cover a really, really large or expensive degree. We will just need a copy of that. So any claim you make in the application, we'll just ask you to verify. If cousin Sally is giving you $200,000 for whatever, cousin Sally just needs to prove that with a bank account slip and a note. So it's more like any claim you make financially, we'll ask you to verify. So I covered extensively the docs required for the loan process. If you have everything I mentioned just ready, you can get everything done in 30 minutes, very fast. A lot of the time would be finding these documents, part one. But part two would be after you submit the application. Does the application information match the documents? If it doesn't, most people lose time because we have to go back and ask, hey, these things don't match. And so that tends to slow things down a lot. If the information isn't the same, we have to follow up with you follow up with us, give us a new document. Maybe it's still not quite right. So just making sure everything is accurate will also keep things moving. If everything is accurate, you have all the information, you can get approved. Sometimes you get a conditional offer immediately. That means your loan application was so strong, you get an offer. And sometimes it takes our team a few business days to review. In Sai's case, he got his, I think, same day. So if you're someone who is in an urgent position, like I need money yesterday because I got admitted quickly, I'm running out of time, you can write us an email and we will escalate your case. Definitely give us some information about it, and we can probably share some a contact form actually with you all that you can save in case this happens to you. But we can always escalate your case if you're running out of financing. Then I will stop talking because we've talked about the rest of the process and that's a lot of info, but hopefully that helped. So other cues.
The other one is yeah, I guess someone is already answering that. So I'll ask another one. How long do you support an international students who aim at having a degree yet he or she is undergraduate?
Got it. So it depends a little bit more. There's some angles we have to support you. If you're an undergraduate in the US or Canada and you're in the last 2 years of your program, we can help you financially. One of the requirements for MPOWER is that you're in the last 2 years before graduation by the time you need the money. So undergrads aren't eligible in their first 2 years. They are in the second 2 years. So if that's you, you're at our schools in the U.S., Canada, we can support you financially. If you are someone that is actually still abroad in an undergrad program and are seeking, more support about how to navigate the journey going abroad, we do have some services on our website that you can check out. We do help with some recruiting as well. So you can also, once again, check out that pre-qualification call. I believe will lead you to those services if you complete it. And then also, you can also go to our website and kind of explore a bit, and we'll have some more information there about our recruitment team there. But so it just depends a little bit more about what you're seeking. And the last thing I'll say is that we have a network of websites that are all about going abroad and how to do so, international student websites. And so maybe someone on our team can share a few of those, but it has countless pages of resources about how to go about things. And so if you're feeling pretty self-sufficient, you just want a little bit guide versus talking to someone, those websites can also be a great resource. So it just depends a bit where you are. Good question. More questions, Yudi? Sai?
Yes, there are probably more. In case if MPOWER can provide a tuition fee, can I just apply for a program, then let you know, so that I can be enrolled for spring 2024 or summer intake 2024?
Yeah, so the correct order or the best order of operations is to apply to school, get an admit, take your admit, immediately come to MPOWER and say, hello, give me money, and I need to start school soon. If you have everything I mentioned ready, it's super fast. You can still make it for 24 in the spring if your school is still, if you have an admin already, or summer, of course. So yes, I think the one thing I'll change in what you said is that you should get admitted to school and apply with MPOWER, and then we will pay for your tuition. So I'll just change the order a little.
What do we do when the required documents can't be submitted, or they don't have one of the required documents?
What can we do when the requirement can't be submitted? So it depends a bit. I might ask a little bit for a clarification. I'll just answer a few different angles. If we're asking for something like GMAT and you took the GRE, you can just not answer that, for example. So whatever your school asked for, either English language, GRE, whatever tests, we want the same tests. If your school didn't ask for it, we don't need it. So if your school had it, asked for it, I'm sure you have a document somewhere, you should be good. So a lot of times test scores are the one that delays people. If it's something technical, like you literally can't upload it, that is something our tech team can help you with. And I would write us a note. If it's a technical issue, we'd love to help you solve that. A lot of times you can just email the docs in and we'll add them that way. So maybe you can clarify at the bottom. If you have an application with us and share an email address, we'll help you. And then
it looks like, sorry to cut you off. It does look like it's a tech issue. It's like I have all the documents, but when I submit it, the portal isn't responding.
That is something we are definitely happy to help you with immediately. Give us, if you wouldn't mind giving us the email address associated with your application, we will follow up with you. Thank you for calling that out.
Yeah.
What else?
Thinking someone asked, is there any time left to apply for universities, masters for spring or fall 2024? Fall 2024, absolutely. I think there's plenty of time. But spring, I think it just depends on the university you're choosing. They might have a strict deadline, and that might not, you might have missed that deadline. So it just depends on which university you want to go.
Yeah. And then for fall, I think a lot of schools have rounds where they have consideration rounds where they might take the first intake in October, Jan, or, every school is a bit different. I think MBA does it differently than STEM sometimes. So you check that way. But the earlier you apply for school as rounds, it's more likely you'll get in. People that apply in the first round get the best shot typically. And then later, the schools are hedging their bets. They're presuming that people in the first round want to go there the most. And sometimes in later rounds, it's your chances go down a bit. So if you're able to apply in that first round, you'll have a better chance of getting in. That being said, if your application isn't going to be strong by the first round, it might be better to wait until your application's a bit stronger, or give yourself the best chance to get in. So apply when your app is strong, and then apply as early as you can when the app is strong. Be a little bit of advice I have. Someone is asking, when does MPOWER interview the students? I'm sorry to say, we will never interview you. We don't we don't interview people as part of the process. It's just not something we do. We do communicate with you though. If you accept the loan offer, you'll get an intro call. You'll talk to relationship managers. So it's not that you won't communicate with us, but we definitely don't do an interview. Is that normal in India, guys? Is that something where banks interview you, or?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Maybe a different market.
Yeah.
It's a fun one. Can I plan for a whole year of funding at once? Should I? Yudi and Sai, what do you think?
Can you plan? Yeah, you should. Sorry. Yeah, you should. Yeah, you should plan for the entire funding. Yes.
Yeah, I would say you should plan for all of your years of school to the best of your ability. I think for the visa, you just need to show financing for the first year. It might be a little different for US versus Canada, but I think it's typically the first year. But if you think about how to pay for the first year and you don't think about the second year, and you get to the second year, you're going to have a little bit of trouble. But that being said, MPOWER is here to help you. If you are in school and have a past due balance, we can help you up to 6 months after the balance, actually. So if you are in this fun position of planning the first year and you forgot about the second, as long as you haven't exceeded our loan limit yet, you can get in a quick top up or emergency loan with us for any of people that did not plan year 2. But we hope you did.
I think people are asking link for required documents in the questions.
I know we have it somewhere. Hopefully our chat moderators can find it. If we can't find it before the end of the session, we'll definitely email it out with the link. It's in our FAQ, a general list of documents. Cool. So we are reaching the end of our lovely introduction to MPOWER. And so if you have yet to ask a question, this is probably the time you need to put it in to give us a chance to get back to you. Otherwise, we'll have to follow up later. But Yudi, Sai, I always have 2 questions at the end of webinars. And so the first one today is going to be, what's the one reason, I know there's a lot, but what's the one reason you recommend MPOWER financing as a financing option for international students? And then the second question is going to be, what's your piece of advice or inspiring message, or what's your final words for the audience today? And so, Sai, I'm going to start with you. Why do you recommend MPOWER? What's the one reason?
So the main reason is like we don't need a co-signer or a co-applicant, and we don't need any collateral as well. So that makes us feel like we don't make burden to our family, and that's the main reason I've chosen MPOWER, because no collateral and no like co-applicant needed.
Yudi, same thing for you.
He was gonna, like, now he stole my answer. But if I can add, I was gonna say 2, but so first one he already answered. Second one is the fixed interest. It's very important for me to know that my money, like the interest, is not gonna go up, and it's gonna stay at when I locked in the rate. So I think that's another reason. But number 1 is obviously collateral for me as well.
Great. And so I'm going to start with Sai again, since Yudi took all the points earlier. So Sai, what's your one piece of advice for all our future international students? Or if you could just tell them one thing to keep in mind, what's that one thing?
Yeah, so plan well, like be prepared for the procedure before 6 months. So just choose the university and the best course you would like to have, and plan for the future as well, for the funding, everything.
Awesome. So Yudi, you took plan. What are you going to say?
Yeah, I would say I wish someone would have told me this when I was coming. Expect the hardship and difficulty. I think people just come with a lot of hopes and dreams, but I would like plan for like you not plan, but like expect that you are going to face difficulties and hardship when you are there, whether it's with your roommates, whether it's finding a job, figuring it out, your courses and practical assignments and all of that. I think things are going to get hard. So once you have that expectation, when it happens, you already knew that that was going to happen. So it doesn't come as a surprise.
Nothing in life worth doing is easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for joining me today. And thank you, audience, for attending our introduction to MPOWER.